show you how to set up student completion rules in a folder while still allowing due dates. So right now I have this assessment down here. It's a text to speech example. If I click edit, I have the option to add a due date. Whenever I want it to be, I can enable my submissions and save those changes. So when I click on this assessment down here, it shows that there is a due date. If the students go to materials or updates, they can see this due date and it will show up on their calendar. So I want to show you an issue. So some of you might have already seen this, but if you add this assessment to your student completion rules, then it tells you that your due dates for these items are going to be removed. So now as the student, when I click this text to speech, there is no due date right here. And as the student, when they go to materials, they don't see it as something that is due this Sunday. The next thing they see is something I have due next Wednesday. So it no longer looks like, as a student, it doesn't look like I have anything that's due or upcoming in this course unless I go search for it. So if you, as the teacher, go to Gradebook, depending on how you have your gradebook set up, you may or may not be able to see these things. I can see that text-to-speech example right here, but if I click those three dots and edit, it looks just like it does in my course, where I still don't have the option to edit a due date. But if you see these three dots over here, you can click those three dots and click Bulk Edit. And now this text-to-speech example is the assessment is over here, and I have the option to add a due date to it. So I can type the date and the time. I can click Save Changes. And now when I go back to that course in my updates and materials, it showed back up that there's a due date. If I go back to my materials and go back to that folder, I do still have this student progress. I can still see that my student hasn't completed it. And now it does still say they have to make a submission, but it also has a due date. So what's advised for now while this issue is happening is that when you're creating your assessments, your assignments, whatever you need to have a due date, but also wanting to use student completion, don't waste your time in the course setting a due date. Set up all of your student completion rules how you want it, and then go to your gradebook, click those three dots for bulk edit, and set up all of your due dates once you've set it up. Otherwise, you're going to set up due dates, set up student completion that cancels your due dates, and then have to come back here. Now, something else I want to point out to you, two more things. One is if you click this little, it's like a little blue spiral up in the top right corner, you can see all of your courses. So you can switch to this bulk editing to any of your courses. So I can go into my real algebra course, and they are listed by marking period. So this is the other thing I want to make sure I show you. This is the marking period I am in right now, and this will only show up if you do your assignments as graded in a certain marking period. If you have them as ungraded, then they're all going to show up on the bottom, and they usually go from least recent to most recent, but not always. Sometimes they're alphabetical. And so you want to make sure that if you don't put a grading period on them, that you name them something, that you know exactly what they are, so you'll know when they're due. For example, week 4 task 2, week 4 task 1, okay? And just to show you, like, I can still switch between my courses, but if you have things like this is the 4th marking period, this is the 5th marking period, and now here's the 6th marking period, and then all these ungraded ones. So you need to make sure that when you add due dates to them, that you've named them something so you know where to find them, that you're looking in the right marking period, and most importantly, make sure you click Save Changes at the bottom once you've added those due dates. So our advice for right now is to go through all of your courses, set up all of your student completion, then go back and do the bulk edit in all of your courses, since once you're here, you can easily shift between those different courses.